Hello, this is Will Schlecht from IronCrow AI, and today I'm going to be showing you a new output type for the drafting tab of the Large Language Model Sandbox. This is a feature specific to the Microsoft Word version of the LLM Sandbox, so we're going to be in Word today instead of a web browser. And to start, we've got a patent specification open, and we're going to go to our IronCrow tab. I have two tabs just because I also have a development environment, but this would be the tab as you would see it if you have the IronCrow add-in installed. We're going to go to the LLM Sandbox tab. I've already logged in, so I don't have to authenticate myself, but just open up this window so it's taken up 50% of the screen. And let's navigate over to the drafting tab. So to make an edit to this document, we will select the output type as edit. And as opposed to patent application or figure, which are types of output, basically types of documents that can be produced, the edit mode is a type of output which will make modifications to an open Word document using track changes. And I'll give three quick examples of where that can be useful. Um, but in a nutshell, the idea is that instead of the conventional mode where we get output in this side pane and you can copy it and paste it into your document, you can actually make changes directly to your document. I think that's most helpful where you have changes that might be dispersed throughout your document. So if you're just going to change, like in this first example, we're going to make some amendments to the claims. If you're just making a change in one area, I think it's equally easy to make the update within the side pane and then copy and paste. But when, say, you've gone through several rounds of edits with the inventors or your clients, and they've got changes which might require broad sweeping adjustments to the specification, this edit mode can be particularly helpful. So to start with, let's give this prompt that I've prepared. So we're going to ask the tool to amend claim one in the working document. And the working document is what we call the Word document that the add-in is operating within. So when you want to refer to, in this case, our specification, you can call it the working document. And we're going to tell it to include the limitations of claims two and three into claim one, and then cancel claims two and three, and make sure we've got the edit as our output type. Click submit, and it will start making those changes. So currently, the way that this works is it's essentially using the replace feature within Microsoft Word. Um, so in order to specifically target certain regions, the text needs to be kind of unique. So um, in this case, because we're targeting claim one, and that's fairly long, more than a single word, it's able to target it directly. But sometimes when you're changing a single word, like say flathead screwdriver, and you want to change it to Phillips head screwdriver throughout your specification, it may use additional text around those terms to help target the instances of the term that you actually want changed. So as we can see the track changes edits that have been made. And if I go back into the kind of accepted mode, you can see that we've now got claim one, which has, let's see, so the limitations of claim two were deployable invasive device, wherein the shape memory material is a shape memory polymer. Do. Maybe a shape memory polymer. Yep, so it looks like it incorporated the limitations of claim two, and I won't check for claim three. And then it's also canceled claims two and three. So that's a quick, just a test example to show what this looks like. And the nice thing about having the track changes is that if you don't like what the tool has done, you can simply reject all changes and you go back to the document before the AI made any edits. And that's really nice because you really don't want an AI to make edits that you can't find within your document. So having the track changes is super helpful. The next example I'm gonna do is something which I think there's a lot of potential for, but I think it's kind of up to you to figure out how you want to use it. But you can insert information into a document. So perhaps you have a template of a specification or a template for an office action. You can have little flags like this, and you can give prompts to the edit mode, like draft a title for the working document and insert it into the indicated location. And you don't even really have to tell it what the indicated location means because it's pretty self-apparent that the title should probably go here. So we will run this prompt, and it will replace this kind of title flag with a title that it comes up with. So deployable invasive device with shape memory material for enhanced imaging. So I could imagine that for some workflows, it could be really helpful to fill out an entire, cover page of an office action or other types of forms. You could then just fill out by including flags for where those different pieces of information should be inserted, and then having the edit mode of the draft tab make those insertions for you. The final example I'll give, because I think this is relatively straightforward, this tool. The last example is going to be asking the tool for each of the below claim elements, add one or two sentences of additional description for that element and make sure that those occur within the detailed description in paragraphs which relate to that claim element. And then we give it the list of claim elements we want support for. This is helpful when maybe you've run NSpec and you've seen that you lack a little bit of literal support for some of your claim elements. You can then tell this tool to bolster your literal support by adding in some additional description of those somewhat infrequently recited claim elements. So here, for example, we can see that, for example, adjacent transducer arrays has only been recited once in our detailed description. And we might want to make sure that it has our detailed description has sufficient description for that claim element. So we'll run this prompt. And this example is closer to the original example that motivated this feature, which is there are instances where you might want to change something throughout your application. Um, the title and the claim amendment example are kind of toy examples because it's pretty easy to just copy and paste the text yourself. But this example is a little bit more of a real world scenario. So we can now go through and see where the AI has made changes within our document to bolster the description of these, I think, four different claim elements. So here's our first change. We can see that it has replaced this short sentence, I think one sentence, that says the SMP may be stimulated by physical stimuli such as temperature, moisture, light, magnetic energy, etc. Then it has expanded that to include an additional section which says these physical, chemical, biological stimuli can be precisely controlled during deployment to trigger shape transitions at specific locations. Yeah, so it's essentially just fleshing out the description of this claim element. And I think this is the element, the physical, chemical, and biological stimuli. It's trying to give additional support for that limitation in our claims, and it's doing that in this paragraph. And it will have made similar changes for these other limitations throughout. So you can see if you want to change, say, the numbering of a element, so SMP 508, maybe you want to change that to 510 throughout. You can make that change using the edit tool. Um, and and really it's a feature which is useful during the editing process of drafting a document where you might have feedback from a colleague or from a client. And sometimes those pieces of feedback require somewhat small but diffused changes to a document, little tweaks here and there to many different sentences in many different paragraphs. And this tool is particularly good at making those changes. I think that's an area where the traditional kind of section by section text generation of the draft tab would have fallen short because you would then need to update maybe tons of different sections to incorporate the requested edits from your colleagues or clients. But this tool can kind of make those changes throughout your document in one or two passes. So that's what the edit output type does in the drafting tab. And hopefully you guys find that useful. And I think there's additional use cases that I probably haven't even thought of yet for this tool, but I think it's just a nice ability to actually have the AI work in your document the same way that an editor would work in your document. So thank you. Until next time.